Hi everyone, this is Bernetta Johnson here with another video for my 90-day video challenge to implement change into my life. And I was just thinking the other day, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and of course, when I was telling them what I was doing, they kind of looked at me and was like, no, I don't, I'm not interested in that, or that's not something I think that I'd want to do, or I think, they was like, well, I'm fine the way I am. And when I first heard those words, I began to kind of, it kind of made me feel kind of funny. Like I started questioning myself, and then I realized I had an aha moment. And that is, I had to change what I attached to rejection. When someone tells you no, what do you do? So I really had to think about that. And when I thought about it, I mean, it was such a freeing, you know, conversation, can I say, that I had with myself. And I'm so glad I had that conversation with myself. So, of course, since I did have that conversation with me, I also want to share that with you. Yeah, I know maybe you shouldn't talk to yourself, but hey, I do it all the time. And I promise you, it helps. I don't know about you, but it does help me. But anyway, back to my conversation I had to myself. And like I said, I had to think about what I was attaching to the word no. So that made me realize, what am I attaching to rejection? What am I attaching to the idea when someone tells me no? In the past, I used to get all, offended and would get kind of a little ticked off because I don't like people telling me no. So, but I had to get over that, especially when I now understand is, just because someone tells me no, don't mean I personally am being rejected. It just means that the idea that I may have brought, that I've given them, or the suggestion that I may have provided, or maybe a service that I may have been willing to give, they was just did not have a need for that particular service or that idea. So it wasn't me as an individual, as a person, that was being rejected. It was what I was having to offer at that time. My suggestion, my idea, you know, that my service was being rejected and not me. So that's what I want to talk about with you today. When you hear no, what do you think about? So let's first decide, let's first just be clear on what rejection means. Rejection means clearly that, what you have to offer is just not being accepted. It's a refusal of whatever it is that's being provided. And just because you have that refusal does not mean that they're refusing you, but a product or your service or your idea. So once you get past that, it makes you feel so much better because you begin to understand that, hey, you're not rejecting me, you're just rejecting what I had to offer. So I realized at that time there were three things that you don't need to do when you hear the word no. And the first thing is, don't take it personally. Just because someone tells you no, don't mean that, they're rejecting you. I could, if it's, say for instance, if I was selling makeup, if I was in the business of being a makeup consultant, and I, took the time out and, laid out my spread of makeup and, showed it to the ladies and, went through the demonstrations and everything, and not one person bought anything. Does that mean that, they were rejecting me as a person? No, that just meant what I had to offer at that particular time, they didn't want it. There was nothing that they saw that they needed. So, of course, there was no need for them to make a purchase. So, with them telling me no in that instance, you're refusing the product. So, that's something I had to learn. Do not attach a personal sentiment to the word no. So, now, the second thing that I had to realize is, when a person tells you no, it does not mean that you need to question your abilities, especially when you have adequately prepared yourself before you approach that person. You know that you know your stuff. You know that and you're passionate about whatever it is that you're offering, your service, your idea, your product. You know it front to back, and you can answer all questions. You anything they ask you, you right on point. You can give it to them with no problem. So it's not your abilities. So it's just the fact of it may have been the wrong time. It may not, been the appropriate time for them when you may have made the offer. So don't question your abilities, because again, they're not rejecting you as a person, but maybe the offer. Maybe they were in a bad mood that day. Maybe their mind was somewhere else. Maybe they were focusing on an issue maybe that they had, or maybe it was just the approach at that particular time may not have been the perfect time. So they may have told you no in that instance as well. And the third and final thing is, don't believe that everyone that you encounter is going to say no. Because you could talk to 20 people. 20 people in a row can say no. And you ask the 21st person, and they will be the one to say yes. So just because you run into a bunch of no's don't mean that you will never get to a yes. So I don't want you to stop. I don't want you to quit when you hear that word no. I don't want you to feel bad. I don't want you to feel downtrodden when someone says, I have no need for what you have to offer. When you run into rejection, I don't want you to feel like that you are not worthy or that you don't have anything to offer. All that means is what you're offering, that person does not have a need for it at that particular time. And I'll tell you also, just because they tell you no today, you may run across that same person 2 weeks later and give them the same information, the same pitch, or you can give them the same conversation, the same material, and that time you may get a yes. So, when you hear the word no, don't take it personally. I don't want you to get disgruntled. I don't want you, to feel like, oh, no one is going to buy, and, and I'm just out here just doing this for nothing, or what I'm doing, it'll never work because no one is interested. No, 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 no. That's the wrong way to think. What I want you to remember is, just because one person said no, don't mean that the next person will say no. Because someone, and I can guarantee it, someone is interested in your offer. But you got to go through enough no's to get to the yes. So I hope I've added enough, for you to feel more comfortable when you run into rejection. I hope I've given you something to really, really consider and think about, and make sure you implement into your journey of change, or into your journey of starting a new business. And oh my goodness, it is so important when it comes to starting a business that you do not take no personally, because you will hear a lot of no's when you first get started. But I'd say the more you ask, the more skillful you get at asking, and the more you do not attach personal emotions to that rejection, I promise you, you will get to the yeses, and you will get to plenty of them. Just do not stop. So again, I hope this has helped you, and of course, if you want to keep up with me and keep up with my, 90 days of change, because I can tell, hey, I am changing, like my video yesterday, I've kicked it up a notch. So I just want to make sure that, you understand what this process means, and how, it's important for you to continue and not allow things to stop you, especially the word no. So leave me a comment. Connect with me. Subscribe to my channel. Like I said, you guys are my accountability partners. So I hope you've enjoyed my little tidbit today. And I hope you visit my other videos. And I hope you continue to stay caught up with me as I go on my 90-day challenge to change. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until my next video, don't be afraid of the word no, and have an above average evening. Bye.